You're tuned in to Repco Muscle Garage, the home of New Zealand's toughest muscle cars, hot rods and street machines. Proudly brought to you by Repco, in association with Mount Shop, Maguire's and Rizloan. Later, we check in on a Waikato workshop taking fabrication and modification to the next level, body mods. But first up, thanks to our mates at the Mount Shop, we're at Ardmore Airport in South Auckland for a celebration of the legacy of one Mr. Henry Ford. Yep, it's the annual All Ford Day, an event that's become pretty big over the last 20 odd years. Put on by a collection of local clubs in association with sponsors South Auckland Motors and North Harbour Ford. This one had a wartime focus, influenced in part by the aeronautical setting, famously a home of vintage warbirds. But on the day, every Ford era turned out in force.
We're at Ardmore Airfield, at the back of Papakura. We're here to celebrate Ford. F-O-R-D, mate. Rock.
It's the All Ford Day in conjunction with the Warbirds down the road. And there's some amazing cars here, and they're all Fords, of course.
The theme is classic World War II sort of vehicles, but you've got everything here from that era right up to the latest and greatest.
Ardmore during the Second World War, I think it was a place where the Americans were housed. Every year we try to have a different thing, like whether it's 100 years of something, so we decided to do the wartime thing, yeah. This is run by 4 Ford clubs, the Auckland Mustang Owners Club, the RS Owners, the 105E Anglia Club, and the GT Falcons. We're doing it for charity, for the Kiwi Kids charity.
And another prominent charity was the Auckland Rescue Helicopter Trust, thanks to their incredible Shelby lottery, giving people the chance to win a supercharged Shelby GT Heritage. And not just any Heritage, but the final one ever built, meaning all Ford Day attendees could be among the first to be in to win the lucky last.
So we've got the last GTH Shelby. It's a GTH Heritage to be built in the world. It's a raffle, a lottery for the rescue helicopter, and we've got 10,000 tickets. They're $100 each, which gives the helicopter a minute of flight, and somebody will win this 825 horsepower supercharged Shelby. Basically, it is the last set of parts in the world, the last GTH, which stands for Heritage, based on the Hertz rental car, the gold and the black. Shelby New Zealand built it down in Matamata, and we were lucky enough to get the last one, and we're going to offer it to the public. Somebody can win this car. So it's a Coyote V8, 5 litre, and then it's had a supercharger bolted on top, and that gives us the 825 horsepower. I do have a defensive driving course with Mike Eddy from Track Time to go with the car. Growing up, I was a Holden man, sadly, but I'm coming over to Ford now. Ironically, Greg Murphy's on his way here to help us do the TV ad for this lottery, and I've told him it's the All Ford Day, and just as he drives through, duck down below the dash. So he should be fine.
Of course, the Shelby was just one of hundreds of special Fords here, from Model Ts and As to Mustangs, Falcons, Fairlanes, Capris, Cortinas, Cobra, replicas, some custom, some stock. This really was a memorable display by proud owners, and thanks to Rizloan, we caught up with a few.
We've got a 1929 Model A Roadster pickup. I sort of grew up working on Model A's, so it's just a bucket list vehicle, yeah. No, I've been looking around for quite some time to find the right car, yeah. What shape was it in? Bit of body rust, the old dings and wear and tear of 90 odd years of running around the place. Yeah, so all the mechanicals didn't go in the bin, but they went off to other people and then just started modifying with some more modern bits and pieces. Engine is a little 289 Ford. Yeah, put a Ford in a Ford. I don't believe in cross-dressing. It's a shortened Model A tray with the base of the tray is curry out of my mate's swamp in Pocono. I've always wanted a hot rod, and getting close to retirement, I thought I'd better do something about it. How do I feel when I drive it? Top of the world.
There's an AC Cobra replica sitting there. So the genuine ones sell for in the millions. I'm about $5 million short of being able to buy a genuine car. So you just got to, if you want something like that, you just get the most correct one that you can find. So Ford-powered, 5-speed manual transmission and independent rear end, so 4-wheel disc brake car. It had to be manual for me. It's a Berry car, which is an LMAC car. So Graham Berry doesn't build them anymore, but he was building good cars, and they've got a good name. They're affordable. It's a lot of horsepower for the money. I race it at the drag strip, and I enjoy that. It's running 11.2, just not with me driving it.
Of course, you can't have a Ford day without a Falcon. And that wasn't the only Ford this classic car caretaker brought along.
And it's XY GT Falcon. Clark Prottner used to own it. It's spec'd out to the max, aircon, factory sunroof. We've traded out the 4-speed top loader and stuck a 5-speed Tremac gearbox in it. Thrown the Detroit locker out, stuck a slippery in it because it was getting too dangerous to drive. Went through the suspension, tightened it all up. Extra leaf in the rear springs because that's got the touring tank on it, so it's 167 litres of fuel when she's full. So without the two boys sitting in the back seat, she was always looking like she's dragging her ass. So now we've got it tight, so 120 mile an hour, 4th gear, still got one to go, and she's just picking along quite nicely. Oh, the caretaker of the brothers' cars, well, my job's, I've got a hell workshop at home. It's decked out like American hot rod. I've got everything, milling machines, exhaust machines, everything. So I just make sure that all the dash lights work, all the doors, gaps are correct, just go through them, you know. So that the XY was at my place for 12 months before I actually gave it back to him. So it was very hard to give it back to him, tell you, because Thursday night drinks in the workshop, that's quite a bit of decor, telling you.
So obviously there were plenty of absolutely immaculate vehicles on display, from stock classics of the British variety through to endless American Mustangs with their bright work polished to within an inch of their lives. But not every Ford was mint. Others you could call well-loved in other ways.
We've got my 1947 jail bar pickup. Why did I go with it? I just sort of was in the old magazines and thought, man, that's the truck for me. But I was looking around one for quite a few years, and then I sent on the old trade and exchange for sale, you know, the old Thursday morning. I went, yeah, I'll ring up this dude, and went down there, and I said, hey mate, I've got a Mark II Escort van, would you do a swap? And guess what he did? I've driven it, crashed it, it's been on fire twice, worked out of it for about 20 years. It's not a fast vehicle at all, but it's just having the fun. It's been down Paddy Tonga dirt tracks, grass tracking, been stuck in ditches, you name it. Like I say, it's been on fire a couple of times. Yeah, had to get my favourite woolly jumper out, black, you know, the old black, you know, the old Reggies. Flames are coming out of the bottle, and I peeled it off and stuff it around the carburetor, put the fire out, and then away we drove again. You know what I mean? It's had a bit of a story, old girl. And what have I done to it? I'll put a Jag front end into it, 351 Cleveland, C4 transmission, and air conditioned the paint job because it was shiny.
Tell me what's going on with that grill then.
Oh, I pinched it off the neighbour's fence actually. I went down the road and thought, wow, that's a nice bit of, especially that rusty stuff there. So I thought I'd better put a few more flavours on it. So that's to keep the horses in, not to keep the horses out.
Oh,
yeah, the horses, yeah, no, mate.
Notably, several committed Ford clubs worked together to make this happen, including the Auckland Mustang Owners Club. And with iconic pony cars visible practically everywhere you looked, it was clear they came out en masse.
It's a 1967 Ford Mustang Fastback that has a full Eleanor kit and has been resto-modded with the running gear in it. Well, the Mustang's been around since 1964, as most enthusiasts will know, and it's a car that I've always wanted. This isn't my first Mustang. It may not be my last Mustang. But yeah, just something appeals about the whole culture, the American car culture, the cool lines to them, the history, a lot of movies with Mustangs in them. There was a couple of Eleanor movies that came out. The original one was a 1971 Mustang, but they had a remake of the movie in 2000 with Nicolas Cage in it. and this was the, I guess, the hero car that, in terms of the movie, that he always had trouble with when he went to boost it or steal it. And as a result of that, there was a lot of Eleanor cars or replicas that were made from the cars in the movie around the world. Well, this is not my build, so I'm a member of the Auckland Mustang Owners Club, have been for a number of years, and a previous gentleman or club member, who unfortunately has recently passed, had this built. He brought it in from the States and had the work done by Matamata Panelworks back in 2009, 2010 realm, and the opportunity came up to purchase a car, which I thought, yep, I would like to own that car, and so the rest is history. Oh, well, the Auckland Mustang Owners Club has been around, I think, since 1972. It's going strong with over 400 members, and I've been a member, well, for about 22 years now, I think it is. Meet up with like-minded souls and old friends and make some new friends. So, yeah, it's great.
It's one of the few Ford cars that doesn't have to have Ford on it. I've pulled into service stations and people have come and chatted with me, and kids have gone, yeah, wow, cool, do burnouts and things like that. I'm going, no, I can't do that. It's just got iconic status.
So a highly successful day with a great turnout, which leaves only a few questions left to answer. First, what's the plan for next year?
The future that holds for this event is that it'll probably be we'll just carry on doing it every year. That's the aim, unless they don't like what's happened to the grass.
And secondly,
Are you a Ford man or a Holden man?
Ford. Probably because my best mate's a Holden man, and so we have to have some friendly rivalry. Plus, you know, Ford-made Mustang, full stop.
Stop it, we don't talk about Vauxhalls at my shed. All right.
I actually drive a Holden every day, but I wear my Ford cap. that throws the old, I don't know what's happening around, eh?
Ford. Yeah, Ford. I've had Holdens, but I came right. Yeah.
The advanced protection of hybrid ceramic.
Whoa.
Now in 3 easy-to-use products. In original spray wax, now as a liquid wax, and a spray detailer. Meguiar's hybrid ceramic family with advanced SiO2 technology. Meguiar's, ceramic made easy.
Rizlone has been in engines almost as long as engines have been in cars. Why? Because from then until now, there's never been a perfectly clean fuel. This means every time you fill up, you're adding pollutants and contaminants to your fuel system. Rizlone Fuel Injector Cleaner can cure those woes and help save your engine. Rizlone Fuel Injector Cleaner adds an upper cylinder lubricant, providing double the cleaning power out of the same bottle. We know something about aging well, so when we say it's your engine's fountain of youth under a screw top, you can count on it. Rizlone is the original engine tune-up. Available at participating stores near you.
welcome back to Repco Muscle Garage. Now, thanks to Meguiar's, we're in the Waikato to talk to a shop with a rock-solid reputation for taking their passion for detail to the next level. Body mods. Sure, you could call body mods panel beaters, but there's so much more. Coach builders, restorers, fabricators, and, thanks to the meticulous and credible work they're rolling out, dream makers too. Yep, take one look at the Body Mods custom creations and it's clear Paul Duff and the team are anything but run-of-the-mill.
We specialise in the bodywork on cars, so all the panel work, everything related to the sheet metal, and we do custom work as well, so we manufacture and design when it comes to all things body related. There's nothing typical about what we do. It's quite wide-ranging. I like the diversity, I like the challenge. Certainly don't want to be doing the same thing over and over. Some people will call us fabricators. We've come from panel beating, we're all qualified panel beaters, and we've morphed into this fabrication side of things.
Whatever label you go with, one thing's for certain. From standard restorations through to radical modifications, these guys are becoming world famous as the custom and resto go-tos, when others put a project in the too hard basket. These guys make what most deem impossible, possible. And down the line, practical too.
When cars were originally designed They would have handmade them out of metal, like scratch built them, which was always a fascination for me, meaning that if it was done back in the day, then it means it could still be done now. You just had to work out the processes and how to do that. It's great to be able to design a part and imagine it in the car, but it has to work. And it also has to work potentially not for us. We may not be doing the maintenance on the car when it's finished, so somebody has to be able to do an engine tune or an oil change, and the parts that we've made may be in their way, and it has to be achievable for them to remove it and put it back in without damaging anything.
And no matter what size the challenge is, no matter how daunting, it's basically company policy that once they're in, they're in.
We can't ring the customer part way through and say, actually this has gotten too difficult, we can't finish it. You're completely committed. I regret saying yes sometimes because you've got to follow up. And so the challenges, especially when it comes to the R&D and the design of things, it's very challenging sometimes. There's stuff that we've taken on in the past where I've actually said to them, look, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'll find a way. Yeah, as long as everyone's clear on that, then that's good.
While we were there, a few projects caught our eye, including a heavily modified 56 Chevy pickup and an eye-catching Dodge Charger. You can quickly see the Chevy now bears little relation to what rolled out of the factory.
This truck literally drove in here. I drove it up and down the street. It was registered and warranted, and it was largely standard. It had a few mods like power steer and bits and pieces, but it wasn't that modified. So to take it from that to this, it's actually a really nice way for us to build a car though, to have that understanding right from the beginning and to be involved and actually be able to track it and plan it rather than come in part way through. So it's actually been nice just to be able to know, okay, well, that's where we're headed. What's our best way of heading there? So it's sitting on an Art Morrison chassis. It's a John Reed build. So he had the entire concept from the beginning. So before we even got involved in it, there was a concept, wheels, ride heights, drivetrains. So that was all planned before we even were asked to do the metalwork on it. So, and it's a solid plan. So it actually means that we can just focus on what we do best, and that's the metalwork, knowing that all the rest of it's going to be done to a high standard. That's almost a dream build for that reason, knowing that everyone else that's working on it are good at what they do. So we can just focus on doing what we do. It's a pretty radical build, this one.
And then there's this imposing Charger, a vehicle close to Paul's heart that's another huge custom build. So what's the plan here?
I want to say it was a bit open-ended. Dave turned up with a wish list, so there was things that he knew that he wanted, but there's some evolution going on with that car, which is interesting because I suppose it lends itself to that, especially when you're modifying, where you'll make some things and you're just like, oh, hang on a minute, we can kind of make it better again if we do this and this, and so there has been this bit of a progression when it comes to that. So we've got some themes we're following on that car now. We've agreed on some themes that we'll follow through the interior, even into the boot linings on it. That'll just help it all to come together at the end of it. What I found interesting about the car is, as you can imagine, the car dictates a lot about where it's headed. So all these pretty engine covers, and we call them slam panels that go from the grille through to the radiator. You look at it as a finished result and think, oh yeah, well that was a cool idea and you've made it and it presents well. Well, actually 20% of my R&D's gone into that, and 80% of it was the car telling me what to do, because it has to fit the car. And I suppose what makes it really interesting is it is running a bonnet, and I'm going to look pretty silly if the bonnet doesn't shut at the end of it. So I have to make it fit the car, but I also have to make it fit the bonnet. So there's tolerances, they're all different. They vary depending on what part you're making at the time. And so you've got to be eyes wide open the whole time so that you're building a part that's gonna work. I've always wanted to do one, so it's nice to have one in the shop. It's nice to have a proactive owner that's giving us some artistic license on that as well. That's really cool to be able to use your own ideas.
So, 2 examples of the amazing workmanship on display on a daily basis. From an outfit doing truly world-class work, you can always rely on to be millimetre perfect.
It's got to be absolutely right. There's no room for error. That's the expectation. That's, we've put our hand up to say, we'll get it right, and it has to be right. You're chasing that 10 out of 10 the whole time. We want to get them done. We want to get them done for our customers and make it achievable. You do have to peg yourself back quite a lot along the way, because the mind runs rampant and you have all these crazy ideas, and every now and again you've got to go, no. Actually, one of the things I've had to be really careful about is actually suggesting them in front of my customers, because it amazes me how often they say yes. So I have to think about it, like, do I really want to cross that line? Because what I'm suggesting is actually quite complicated, it's quite challenging. Maybe I should just not say anything, but it's not really in me. It is a dream job. I'm grateful for the fact that we're given the artistic license that we're given. The challenge, I think, is good for me, and we're up to it.
But despite that unrelenting dedication to craft and precision, Paul also has a healthy perspective about it all. Never forgetting that at the end of the day, getting out there and having fun is actually what it's all about.
I want to see them drive the wheels off them. I want to see them out and being enjoyed. The best example of that is the first car we took on. So we literally opened with one job, and that was a 57 Chev, and they drive that car. It's been up and down the country multiple times. You can't get them out of it. That's the perfect result as far as I'm concerned. They love their car, they use it. It was a big job. It was a long process, it was expensive. So to see them then get to go out and now get the enjoyment out of that, perfect result.
Feel like your car could do with some TLC? Well, thanks to our series sponsors, we could be hooking you up with this incredible prize pack. For a start, there's a huge Maguire's and Rislone complete car care pack valued at over $760. We've also thrown in this unbelievable Mech Pro Blue 248-piece toolkit with 3-drawer chest valued at $566. To stay on top of everything underneath, there's a $500 Mount Shop voucher. And last but not least, you'll also score a year's subscription to NZ V8 magazine. That's a total prize pool of nearly $2,000. To enter, just head over to nzv8.co.nz and hit the Muscle Garage link on the homepage. The winner will be drawn at the end of the series, so make sure you get amongst, because this prize pack is one major haul. Good luck. Repco Muscle Garage was proudly brought to you by Repco. It starts with the parts. Mount Shop Undercar Specialists. Maguire's, people who love cars love Maguire's. And Rislone, high performance additives for high performance vehicles.